Thank you for joining us today. Again, my name is Casey, and my company's name is Near Future Marketing, and the name of this meetup is AR Today. It's been an in-person meetup for quite some time now, at least about 2 years. And so now we've moved to completely virtual, and I'm just going to be showing you guys cool stuff week over week. Some weeks it may be how to do Instagram AR. Other weeks it may be how to build an iPhone app. Other weeks it may be HoloLens or something else, whatever it is. But this week I wanted to focus on my iPhone apps because I hit a really big milestone recently. So let's keep going. And so the big milestone is AugmaOS. So I have, if you don't know, I have a lot of apps in the App Store. I believe it's 18 and maybe more. I'm always working on something new. But at the moment, these apps at the very top, the top 5 there, are definitely in the App Store at the moment. And they are all augmented reality apps. So I don't have 18 augmented reality apps yet, but I do have quite a few augmented reality apps. And they're all built on top of this engine I created named AugmaOS. And so AugmaOS is an open world, future-proof reality engine. That's a quick and easy way to put it. But basically, it's a natively built AR engine. So I built this using the tools that Apple has already provided, and therefore it should be future-proof for any upcoming devices, like let's say the Apple glasses or anything else Apple related specifically. It definitely is compatible with. So from there, you can see that I've already built a few apps with it. I'm just gonna crack this door here for the dog. But basically, yeah, I have some cool new apps coming up. I have Cardboard Soldiers. I've been working on that for actually a few years. I've been really taking my time on that one, mostly because I didn't have the technology when I started. And now that I've created AugmaOS, I definitely see that path almost complete. Then we have HoloGarden. HoloGarden is an app that uses machine learning and augmented reality. So this is more of the industrial, useful tool side of things, whereas a lot of the apps I've created are creative focused. Home Whip I released a while ago with a client. That one's for home renovations, and it's just super cool. It's built on the original version of AugmaOS, and so that one's going to get updated soon because it's really, really old now. But definitely at the bottom there, AugmaOS, that's the icon for it, and it's really, really powerful. It's kind of hard to really show off how powerful it is because really it can do anything that you've seen any other AR app do, and that's kind of the goal, is to have all of these apps inside of one app. So that's what I'm working on, and now we're just going to cover some of the cool changes that have come with that. So for starters, GitHub. I posted the big sky above us. This is my first ever augmented reality app. I released it in 2017, and so now that I've just reached AugmaOS 4, so I've been working on AugmaOS for 2 years, and basically I do these updates here and there. And for the last 9 months, I just kind of let all of my apps sit in the App Store, and I worked on a really, really big update. And so now that that's completed, I'm going to completely rebuild this app, The Big Sky Above Us. It was built before AugmaOS was created, so it's just really, really unique. It's 800 lines of code, so it's not too much compared to what I'm doing now. But yeah, definitely, if you've never done AR, especially AR for iPhone, this is a native, clean, easy to use, easy to understand app that I created a while ago. And so you can get it for free on the App Store. But if you know how to code, or if you want to learn how to code, now, as of today, as of a few hours ago, you can actually download the source code on GitHub. So you can see everything I did to create my first AR app. It's like a legacy version, because going forward, I'm going to update it with AugmaOS 4, which is way more powerful, adds way more features. But I think this original version, which is compatible with, the original version of ARKit, is very, very, very special. So it's archived, it's on the internet, check it out. Next, I want to talk about Cardboard Soldiers. As I mentioned, I've been working on it for 3 years. This is the original announcement photo. So I Instagrammed this out 3 years ago, thinking that I was going to complete it by the end of the summer or the end of that year. And I just had a really, really big idea. So I've been working on it. You can see here, over the years, it's not like I've dropped it. It's just I had to build AugmaOS in order to build Cardboard Soldiers. And so I've been working on it. You can see I do everything myself. So I sketched all the faces. I made the 3D models. I recently hired an animator in France. His name is Martin. Shout out to Martin, but he does a really great job at these animations and just getting what the ideas I have, from a sentence into an animation. And we work together on that. So he's really helped make some progress on that one. And then here you can see this is the original sketch out idea. So 6/25, 2017, that's when I wrote the original idea for Cardboard Soldiers. And, you know, I've been working on it since. And so on the right side here, you can see now this is more recent. This is from this year. But I'm still working on it. These are the animations that have come from me working with Martine. Like I said, he does a great job and just getting those little details like those ears wiggling up and down. That's something I really wanted to see in the animations. And so you can see these are just some of the original animations. We have many more now, but definitely, you know, Cardboard Soldiers is almost here. And the end goal is that these guys will basically, there could be 1,000 of these guys in your bedroom, in your living room, wherever, and they're going to rip each other apart and just fight for territory. And, you know, it's just a fun, creative app that I've been working on. And it's going to be powered by AugmaOS 4. So again, this is an early beta preview. You guys can definitely get inside of the beta if you have an iPhone or iPad. I can send you that link. But yeah, it's coming soon. It's in the works for sure. And I think AugmaOS 4 has really made it closer than ever. And again, this is just going back on that. You know, we've really been working on the concept, really been working on a lot of things. So it's coming soon. I can't wait to show you more. As I mentioned, Hollow Garden is the other app that I'm working on. It's just basically an app that uses machine learning to identify plants to allow you to help you take care of those plants. So it can remind you to water the plants. It can scan barcodes and QR codes for those industrial sized farms. The goal for us is going to be to have sun tracking. So this is a feature I've seen in standalone augmented reality apps built just for sun tracking. I want to add that feature inside of one app that also tracks your plants, identifies your plants, and eventually identifies the health status of your plants. So this is really, really huge. This is one of the few apps that I think I'm going to be seeking investment for. And so if you want to check out the beta for that, you can actually type in that link there, nearfuture.marketing/hollowgarden, and you can join the beta. It's really early in the beta, but I can guarantee you that there are always cool features rolling out. Everything that I have released is way behind what I'm working on because I'm always working on something. So, you know, I work on this stuff every day. So definitely check out the betas. I always like to show off this slide here. It just, again, reiterates the statuses and the quality of augmented reality capable devices. And so starting from the very bottom, we have that pepper ghost effect. This is more so like a special see-through mirror that reflects a projector. Above that, we would have like our older phones from 2012. And basically, these are phones that can track a QR code. They can receive text mails and emails, text messages and emails, but they don't have that advanced tracking where you can walk around in and out. Maybe you could leave a hologram in the room, walk out and come back, and you can still see it there. You won't get that with a phone from 2012, but definitely from our flagship phones, really our phones built after 2016, you can get a lot of these features. And the key there is that energy efficient machine learning. That's what really enables augmented reality and a lot of other cool features, but definitely the ability to track the device's position in the room or 6 degrees of freedom tracking. That is only possible thanks to that machine learning and thanks to just some of the more advanced parts and smaller microchips. Last but not least, we have those AR glasses. And again, this is the ultimate form. This is here today. So even Apple has rolled out hand tracking, but definitely HoloLens, the HoloLens 2 is built around that eye tracking, voice recognition, and hand recognition. So I would consider it the most powerful device on the market at the moment. But definitely, you know, there are lots of other AR glasses already in existence, but I think ultimately they need to fit all of these criteria and everything below in order for it to be the real thing, the thing that's going to be that viral next piece of hardware. So fashionable, I think, is the key. I think the simplest way to put it is if your grandma wouldn't wear it, then it's not going to catch on. You know, it needs to be something that even your grandma can put on and say, wow, these are my seeing glasses. I can see all the time, but I can also like check my emails and like, you know, all this other cool stuff. If your grandma's going to wear it, then I think that going to be the product that ultimately takes over from a cultural aspect. But let's keep going. And last but not least, I just wanted to reiterate the things that AR is. So informative, you know, I'm working on some cool apps. So like I said, AugmaOS can really do everything that you've seen any other app do. And that's kind of the point for me, is that I'm one person. I work by myself mostly. I don't really, have too much help on building these things or designing these things. I design it all myself. I build it all myself. I organize these meetups myself. And so just basically, I want to keep building apps. I never want to stop, especially AR apps. And so AugmaOS allows me to quickly pivot and build new apps in, a day or weeks or months or whatever. I can really start from that engine and have a lot of cool features already built in. And so I am working on a VR museum app that uses photo scanned Egyptian artifacts. It's really, really cool. It cost me a good amount of money, but again, that's one of those things I'm starting now to actually have a budget for these apps and spend more money, because I really do believe in AugmaOS and its reusability. I've used it to build a lot of apps already, and my best apps are not even here yet. So yeah, informative, powerful. Again, AugmaOS is very powerful. So these are not AugmaOS, but again, these are things that it is capable of. We have integrated machine learning models, so we definitely could analyze, basketball trajectory. AugmaOS 4 actually added multiplayer, so it's in there. It's locked in the current release versions for the App Store, but it is in there. So multiplayer is coming, rolling out fully very soon. And these labels, we definitely have the ability to label things, as you've seen with the live fish and live butterflies, which I'll demonstrate today. And of course, it's creating that paradigm shift. The digital screen here in that far right corner, I really love that idea. It was one of the first things I fell in love with when I personally got to try AR glasses a while ago. And so that's something that is coming to AugmaOS very soon. I'll just spill it. There's not too many people here. I have an app idea called XR Desk, where I want it to basically be a productivity app where you can come and kind of replace almost your laptop. It's really like, again, AugmaOS is targeted to be future-proof and be ready to go on day one when these AR glasses roll out. And that's where I'm already working on these cool ideas that are more so really focused on the end goal of AR glasses versus the phone. And so I think there's definitely a huge opportunity with AR to replace your desktop, laptop completely with the right interface. I think the power is already there, and definitely the graphics power is already there as well. So lots of cool stuff coming. And that's where I just wanted to reiterate that this stuff affects all of the industries. You can, really use AR for any industry and make a change in any industry. And yeah, it's really, really flexible. And that's the way the AugmaOS is. Actually, there was one more slide here. Let's go to that one. And that last slide is the official change logs. And so AugmaOS 4, as I mentioned, I spent 9 months on it. The changelog is actually longer than this, but it just wouldn't fit on one slide. So I tried to put the most relevant stuff. So I'll try to go over as much of this as I can in a live demo. But again, there's so many cool new features, and overall, it doesn't matter if you've never used it, then you don't really care about the new features. You just care if it works. So starting from the top, I added VR mode. This is really, really cool. So basically, all of my AR apps now have a VR world built in. Even if you don't use it or anything, it's there. It's going to be in all of my apps, just because I thought it was a cool idea. And actually, the most recent update includes 3 VR worlds. So there's like a day world, a mid-sunset day world, and a night world. But basically, VR mode is really, really cool. And through using this AR mode, using an AR app to create a VR mode, you get this really, really cool interface where you have a world overlaid the real world, but you don't have glasses on. You don't have that headset over your face. You're holding your phone, and it's this little portal to another world. And it's just really, really cool. A completely different way to interact with a video game. I've never seen any other application pull off VR in the way that I'm doing it with this AR VR mix. It's an XR kind of VR mode. I checked really hard. I don't see too many or any other iPhone apps doing it this way. And so this mode is still rolling out. It's just gotten here, but it works very well already. And there's some cool new features coming around that. I'm building some VR apps built on top of AugmaOS. So really, really cool. Lots of words to explain it, but basically it's super cool. We added the advanced settings micro app, battery saver mode, tabs to the 3D decorations. You can now place stickers on all sorts of surfaces. You can actually video record by pressing and holding the camera button. The 3D brush can actually change shapes now, as well as styles, so that you could have a metallic brush or neon brush. The left-hand mode is a lot more clear now. I think before that was something that was cool, but if you tapped it and you didn't really realize what it said, you didn't realize that you completely switched your experience. And so now left-hand mode is obvious. Genetics, this is really cool. So the augmented reality agents that you'll see today, the live animals, can basically, they have their own moods, they have their own genders, and now they also have like mutations, and they could actually pass that on. So you could have a red butterfly and a blue butterfly, and they may create a red and blue butterfly, or they may create a purple butterfly. This is definitely possible and already implemented in my App Store releases. So it's super cool. People occlusion, this basically means you can wave your hands through the hologram. Deleting specific objects. Yeah, so with the 3D wand now, you can actually tap something, random in the scene and just delete it instead of going in order and deleting things. You can double tap. You can take photos in landscape mode, and we maintain compatibility for the older versions of iOS. I think this is super important. A lot of apps are focusing on the newer things and the new features in iOS 14, which isn't even out yet. I think it's super key to just right now focus on backwards compatibility, because there were a lot of cool features that were already there, and there were a lot of people who have not used AR at all. And so, they still need to try that. There's a lot of people who have outdated phones, especially now with the pandemic and the, status of our world economy. I think, especially right now, it's important to focus on compatibility and just extending support to as many people as you can. So I'm going to open this part up for some quick questions. I'll stop sharing my screen. And cool, we got some more people in. But yeah, if anyone wants to come off of mute and maybe turn on your camera too, I can answer some quick questions while I start setting up a quick live demo. And anyone at all, and if not, it's okay, I'll just continue. But definitely, if you guys have some questions or comments, please feel free to come off of mute. Cool. But I'm just going to set everything up here.
So now, is your intention to open source this this thing?
Yeah, so somewhat, I would say more so at the moment, it's more so private source, it's private, but basically working with clients, working with people who have those ideas, local businesses, small businesses, as I've done in the past. I've already worked with some small businesses, but definitely for me, I just want to continue creating as many apps as possible. And I also want to help other people. I would like to create an SDK or something more official that's easy to use, but AugmaOS is not just the code, it's also the assets. It's also like Photoshop templates that I created because I come from a graphic design background. And so it's a mix. It's basically, it's for sale. It's open. It's definitely, we can work out a price. There's no flat, solid price to use it. But otherwise, it is not like open source in the fact that it's on GitHub and you can just download it and view what I'm doing. Okay. Because it's just very complicated. It's like 8,000 lines of code, and it works very well. But if you wanted to work with it, if you wanted to work with me or something on that, we can definitely communicate and chat about that.
Okay, great.
Yeah, thank you for that question. All right, so let's do a new screen recording. Not that one. Let's cancel. 1 second, I hit the wrong button here. All right. Okay, and now I can share my screen again, so let's try that. Just do my whole desktop. All right, and so I did not practice any of these demos before, halfway because I just have faith in the system, and the other half because I just have so many other things I do. But basically, let's start with Magic Fish. So this one I updated most recently. The only app of mine that's not updated at the moment would be the Big Sky Above Us. That one, the TBSAU there, is the original Planets app that I created in 2017. That one is now open source, so you can download that code. But everything else is updated or getting released. Some of these aren't released yet, but let's start with Magic Fish because it is released and it's in the App Store. And so this is one of the first new changes, the intro tutorials. So there's now these nice little tutorials, and basically they just guide you through a lot easier and a lot prettier than it used to. I wish I had the side-by-side comparison video, but today we're just going to go through the live demo. And so open the book bag to make our create live fish with Safari mode, step forward, then tap anywhere to begin. And so the reason I put that there is because the way that AR works is that the more information it has, the better it can perform, especially with the current state where we don't have AR glasses and we don't have, or we do, but on your iPhone especially, we want to move the device a little bit to get as much information to keep the tracking steady. So if we go over into our settings menu here, I'm actually going to reset all of the tutorials because I've used this app before. And so in here, you can actually tap this trash can and you can reset all of the tutorials. And that way it just gives you that guided experience again. So let's open our settings menu again. And it says, welcome to the settings menu. And if things get weird, you want to press that reset button. And so I'll tap that super quick. And so the reset button just resets the tracking, and it also creates a new random agent. So you can see we got a different fish this time. And that's because every time you tap or create a fish, it is completely random. It's not predetermined. Use the flash button for better lighting. So if you're in somewhere dark, you could definitely use that flash button. And multiplayer, music, and more in the advanced settings menu. And so we're going to cover that one because it's really cool. I think that's what really took that 9 months, was I created something cool, and then I didn't want to just release it. So I took the time to actually flesh out all of the features that are inside of that menu. And then so from here, you can tap anywhere to close the menu. So when you're in the settings menu, you can just tap anywhere to close it. It's really, tap the settings menu, tap to close it. And so the last thing I wanted to mention is that left-hand mode. This is, again, we have a notification now. And so this changes everything. It changes where all the buttons will show up. Essentially, they're going to be on the other side. So if you are right-handed, switch back to right-hand mode. But if you're left-handed, definitely I made left-hand mode available for you. All right, so we'll tap out to close. If you tap anywhere, that creates the 3D cursor. And I do have to apologize. I don't think the sounds are going to stream from my iPhone to this live stream. But basically, when you tap anywhere, it creates this 3D cursor that kind of lets you interact with the environment. And this one's really, really customizable. So again, things are customized. They can be customized to whatever app. But the settings that we have in this one, this is Magic Fish AR. Again, it's free in the App Store right now. I believe all of my apps are free in the App Store right now just for this meetup. But if we tap the bottom one, this will spawn a new fish. And so every time we tap that button, it spawns a random fish. And again, these fish have their own moods. They have their own physics bodies. They can bump into each other. They could breed technically. It's not enabled in this app, but definitely, they are all randomly generated and they all have their own cool features, and you can walk around them. You don't have to, stay in one spot. Now here's the whole live stream setup there. But basically, this is in the room. This is in the room. So let's continue and kind of scale out here. We tap that 3D cursor again. We could open up the music app. This background music has been updated. So before I had some songs that I thought were free and free to use in anything. Apparently the rules around video games and apps are very, very tricky when it comes to music. You can use them in videos, but you can't use them in apps and games quite easily. And so I got tired of it. I started producing my own music. A lot of these I actually made on my iPhone. I used to make music a little bit more professionally, but these days I just quickly wanted to create some cool songs. And so again, you can't hear them here, but definitely check them out in the app because I made them and they are free. They're going to be available in our free assets. So I'll show you guys where to download everything. But I'm giving away a bunch of free code. I'm giving away a bunch of free 3D models. I'm giving away a bunch of free music. And so I will show you that Google Drive link a little bit later. If we tap the 3D cursor one more time, the other things you have access to here would be the art supplies. And so these are going to be our core features, really. We have 3D stickers, the 3D brush, and the 3D decorations. And so we'll cover these from a different section, but I just wanted to point out that it's kind of like a shortcut to get to those features. So we'll tap again, and if we tap the camera, this brings us into our 3D camera. And so if we just, like an example, take a picture here, you can see that it actually took a picture of that fish exactly where he was, but it also placed that picture within our frame. And so I can actually walk around the picture, whoops, and I can also tap that picture and pick it up and view it And if you press and hold that picture, you can still actually look at the environment that's going on behind you, because it's not pausing anything. Everything is real time. It's like the real world. But since you have an iPhone in your hand, I added this feature to look at a still picture. So we will delete that picture. And that's another cool feature. One more cool thing in here is you can double tap to flip the camera, like some other apps you may have used. You can also open this menu to turn on the flash or flip the camera, which activates the face tracking here. Definitely check out the cool AR Today swag. But yeah, definitely there's some cool features there in that 3D camera. Going back into our book bag, we have next our 3D decorations. And so these are the 3D models that you can use to decorate the world. And so if you pinch out, you can actually scale them up. If you pinch in, you can scale them down. If you swipe up or down, you can actually rotate this model. And if you tap the arrow here, which used to be an anchor, which I think kind of confused people, you can actually place these in the real world. And so as we go through here, you can see that we have lots of cool decorations. And some of them are really high poly, some of them are low poly, but it doesn't really matter because it's just really, a cool way to decorate the room really, really, really quickly. And so again, I'm just going to decorate really quick and just kind of show you that I can get up in here and really make this, my own little world. So let's, yeah, it's kind of cool how you can just really actually, since I'm in my room, I can cover up some things and just transform this place into a whole new place for you guys. And you can only look at basically what I'm presenting. You can't see, the real world because you can only see the augmented reality. But again, this is, it scales out a lot. You can add as many decorations as you want. And there's all sorts of cool decorations in here. There's coral, there's, vegetation. But the live animals, the live fish and stuff, they react to this environment as well. And as we scale up, as I update things more and more, you're going to start to see them like nibble on the grass. You'll see them do all these other little things because they can. It was built, from the start for them to have that compatibility. And now as I scale up and I start to update my apps more and more, and I buy more 3D models, basically, I have more reason to make them interact with these things that I spent money on. Because I did not create the coral, but I did create the 2D stuff, and I created all the code. But these 3D models I did buy. So yeah, this is the setup here. You can see it's, I think, a little laggy on the other side since I am streaming this. But basically, what I wanted to show you next is in the middle. If you tap that square button, that is going to be Safari mode. And this allows you to generate as many fish as you want. You just basically tap. And again, this may be a little laggy on the live stream side. But basically, you can just tap and tap and tap and tap wherever you want and create up to 1,000 fish. And so they are all, again, individually powered. They all have their own brains. And so if I tap one of these fish and pick them up, I can actually read. I actually took some time. This took me like a whole night, but I essentially did like a research paper, and I did research on all of the fish that are in this app and wrote up a great description about them all. So if you pick up any of these fish, you can actually learn some true facts about, like an example, the powdered blue tang here. And swipe that up. And yeah, it's just, a cool feature. Again, they all have different brains. So the fish have fish brains. If I pick up that dolphin back there, you can barely see him, but if I pick up that dolphin, you'll see that the icon changes, and that's because he's using a completely different brain. He's using the dolphin brain, which basically will allow him to swim a lot different. It's a longer swim. Whenever he does swim, he travels a lot farther and just does things a lot differently than the fish or the jellyfish. So that's that whole brain setup. I call it Brain Kit. But it's really, really cool, and it's what will also allow for combat in apps like Cardboard Soldiers. That's Magic Fish for the most part. Let me just go ahead and do a reset here. And next I'll cover, oh, that's cool. We got the seahorse. The seahorse is actually really, really rare based on the code. So if you see the seahorse, I consider it kind of lucky, basically, because he's pretty rare. But let's go into our advanced settings menu here. And in our advanced settings menu, these are going to be like some of those cool extra apps that I added that I just thought were cool to have, not necessary, but they're going to be in all of my apps. So this menu that you're seeing here is, again, something that would look really cool if you were wearing glasses. This is the ideal type of interface. If I reach out, that's that people occlusion. That you can see there, I'm actually like reaching into the clock and I'm actually touching this stuff. And that's because that's, the more advanced features that are supported on iOS 13 and later. So let's show you some of those. In the credits app, you can just basically read the app's description. If you tap the app's name there, it will take you to the website page for that app. If we go back into the credits, you could tap the star here to rate the app. I do appreciate those ratings, especially the 5 stars. And if you tap the 3 dots here, you get a 3D model of me. Just something random I had lying around, and I figured I'd toss it in an app, just as kind of like that good luck. It's like I'm with you in spirit in all of my apps. So I'm there. You can check me out inside of my apps, but that's the credits app. If we go back, again, we have that music app. We already covered that one, but we can play any music from there. If we go to here, this is going to be our multiplayer app. So again, this is coming soon. It works, but I wanted to roll this feature out to all of my apps, so it's not enabled in Magicfish, but coming soon, multiplayer to all of my apps. And if you tap this wrench here, this is like the developer settings. So if we tap this one, we can see all of the cool stuff. We can see, you know, the tracking markers that are being created. You can see the floor and everything that you can just see basically how this is being tracked and how it's tracking the world. So if I go out here, you can see it's analyzing the curtains and it's starting to measure things. And as I move around, it will, you know, collect more information about the room. But that's developer view. That's just a cool original feature that now has an official interface, basically. There's battery saver mode. This turns off all the vibrations here. Like he turned that back on. Turns off all the vibrations and just kind of lets things run at an optimized rate, especially on like an iPhone 6s. I think that's a great feature. We have that VR mode, which I mentioned earlier, so I can show you that now. And this is VR mode. So you can see there's my seahorse. He's still here. He never left because he's a part of the AR world. But this is that kind of XR effect that I was talking about. And that now that I've launched this VR world, I can actually look around. So now I'm pointing at my laptop, but you can't see it because I'm in VR mode. But this is an AR app. So I'm controlling the camera by moving the phone. But I could also walk. I could walk in this world, and I've measured it. It's actually as big as like your neighborhood, basically, or at least your block, I'll say. So if I continued walking, you know, to the end of this world, it would definitely be at the end of my physical street. So there's a lot, I think, that's possible with a world this big that you can physically walk through. And there's also a cool VR walk feature that I have, and it looks like it's not enabled in this version of AugmaOS. So let's hop over into a different app. Let's try the core version of AugmaOS just to be sure I can show it to you. So this is the core version, and in the core version, it has basically all of the brain types available. So this is kind of like that private access. So it's not open source. It's more so like a private beta. But if you want an invite to this private beta, I can definitely invite you. And that way you can always test the latest version of AugmaOS and help me, you know, catch the crashes early, because there are crashes, there are cool new things that I'm always testing in this core version. And if I catch it here, then it won't roll out to apps like Magicfish. So definitely I can put up the beta link for AugmaOS. You guys can help me out and test that. I would appreciate it. But here, this is what I wanted to show you, is that in this version, the VR mode now has 3 worlds. So, and it has that little walk icon. So let's first take a look at the sunset world. Ooh, you know, it's just really cool that we can switch worlds so quickly. And here's the night world, which has like the moon. And so again, I could decorate this. I could add all the 3D models I want. I have a video laying around somewhere. I have to locate it, so maybe I can, and I can show you guys. And then that 3D cursor still works here. So everything that works in our AR world still works in our VR world. It's nighttime, so it's kind of hard to see, but it still works. And that's actually thanks to some code I wrote last week, because before it looked really weird to have this AR cursor in VR, and now it actually understands that there's a VR mode and reacts differently. So now that we're in VR, I will go ahead and show you guys this cool feature, I guess. Actually, I won't be able to demo that one here, so we won't do that. But there's a VR walk mode. And so if I do this, it actually allows me to walk forward. And you can see it's like the sand's moving, and I can swipe forward or backwards to move. The issue with this right now is that the fish and the other animals here, they're all attached to the AR world, and so they don't realize that the VR world is moving. And it looks like that they're not moving and they don't get left behind. So there's an easy fix for that, but it's not implemented in this version. Let's hop over into 1001 Butterflies. I launched this app about 2 to 3 weeks ago. but again, it's also built on AugmaOS. And what's cool about this app is that you have the butterfly, but things in our Safari mode here, instead of having maybe, 5 different fish, 5 different animals, we have one butterfly, but each time you create one, it's being altered. There's a new genetic mutation that's being created. And so it really is 1001. There are like 10 different mutations and then 10 different colors of those mutations. And then there's 10 base colors and one additional butterfly. And when you do the math, it adds up to 1001 butterflies. So it was just like a cool mathematical formula that I was able to execute within augmented reality. But again, as you create each one of these, they're independently influenced. They all have their own names. They all have their own agendas. But they also are, mutating in color. And if we were to breed them, they would also be able to pass along their colors. So this is a really cool app. Definitely check it out while it's free. I made it free this week. It was not free last week. And same thing, it has lots of cool 3D decorations in here. And if you tap the 3 dots here and you tap that art button, you get these tabs, which organizes all of our decorations, our 3D decorations, into different tabs. So all the plants are in this tab. If we hop over maybe to items here, then you'll get just like the small stuff. If we hop over into landscape, then you would get these cool garden gnomes. And again, I paid for this stuff, so definitely check out these apps while they're free, because just the gnomes alone, I know, cost me like $20 on of models. There were lots of gnomes, but there's, it's really cool. I really take pride in putting a lot of cool art, and I really do think about the things that I'm putting inside of my apps. So definitely check them out. The most recent app that was updated is the AR UFO stickers, and this one actually sells so much already. I'm kind of jealous, not jealous, but basically it does well doing sales. I made it free this week, and it got thousands of downloads over the week. And I was like, wow, it got all of these downloads before I actually got to update it. So I was really upset about that, because I spent all this time and hard work updating things, and everybody was still trying the old version. So the new version is finally rolled out. One cool thing about the new version is it has all of these other features I've shown you. Let me think of something that I can mention. Oh, so this is like the original version of the app. Maybe if you remember, the original version, it only had stickers, whereas now we have actual 3D UFOs. So now we have actual 3D UFOs that fly around the room. And we also have cool decorations here, energy pods and aliens. He's supposed to be animated. So, excuse me. In the next update, he'll probably be breakdancing or something like that. But, again, lots of cool decorations to just really have lots of fun with. These are the creative side of AugmaOS. Moving on, we have HoloGarden, which I mentioned earlier. This is going to be more of that industrial agriculture app. So in this one, we have all the same settings, but over here we have completely different micro apps. And so we have the 3D camera, we have the 3D barcode scanner, we have sun tracking, lots of cool stuff coming soon. I want to talk more about this app, but again, it's a work in progress, and it does a lot. If I could demo it really quickly, you'll see that on this one, when I tap, the 3D cursor is completely different. It has words in the inside, and that's because it's using a machine learning model to analyze the frame. So it analyzes a single frame when you tap, and that basically saves a lot of battery. And if we go here, there's going to be a cool view to basically manage and search all of your plants. So I'm working on this among many other things, but again, it's built on top of AugmaOS, and I just wanted to show you guys the full range of AugmaOS. One last app I can show you is this Puppy Wear Co. It's a e-commerce dog store I run, and so you get dogs in this one, but you also have a real website. And so this website allows you to shop for dog stuff. And basically you can shop for collars, bungee leads, shirts, all of this stuff. It's a real store. It's run by me, so it's legit. And yeah, it's just a cool place. It's a cool app that fuses e-commerce with augmented reality. So this is another cool app. And again, it is powered by AugmaOS 4 now. It has all of those same features and cool things. Another app that's worth mentioning, another micro app, is the Cinematic app here. And so inside of this one, this just basically hides the user interface and allows you to just have a clean view of the world. Next, we have the Save app. This allows us to save the room. And so basically, once you put down all of those 3D decorations, you could actually save the room like that. And then basically come back to this on a different date. So you'll notice at the bottom, it has the exact time to the second. And the reason is because you have 3 save slots. So we have 3 different save slots here. And then from there, we can reload a save. And you'll notice like the dog, he got put back to where he may have been when we last loaded this world, when we saved this world. So that was another cool feature that took some time, but it is also included in all of my apps now. We have the 3D ruler. This was in the apps secretly before, so now it's actually visible. And basically, you can just create measurements. So if I want, I could tap there. Oh, let's try that again. So now that I ended the tutorial, we'll tap, and then maybe I'll tap to just to here. I don't need to really do anything crazy. But 19.41 inches. And if you open here, you can also switch to centimeters mode. So again, many apps built inside of all of my apps. But that is the 3D Ruler micro app. The next app, I know I'm going through a lot of information here, guys, but again, this is just, I wanted to have something official where I officially covered all of the things that I have released into the world. So the next app we're going to cover is this 3D clock. And if you have been a fan of mine and seen any of my other apps, my first app was WristRef Scorekeeper. It was an Apple Watch app. And within that app, this is the interface from it. I actually brought in that play pause button. So, you know, that same timer and stopwatch that is in that Apple Watch app that I created from scratch, I literally invented a clock. That code has now been transformed. It's been added to AugmaOS. And so now that code that used to power my first app ever for Apple Watch, that code now powers the 3D clock inside of AugmaOS. So that's a really cool milestone for me. So you can pause that clock, you can delete it and start over. You could set it for 30 seconds. You could set it for 9 minutes and have it count down. It goes both ways, and it's just a really cool clock. One cool tip about this clock, one cool secret, is that you'll notice that the clock here in the advanced settings menu moves. And so it's not measuring the actual time. It won't give you the time of day. What it does tell you is how long the app's been running. So this is just a small secret I just added to the app. All the arms are moving in real time, and they start moving the moment you launch the app, even though you don't see the clock. So the clock actually is just showing you how long the application has been running in real time in a really cool, creative way. It's a physical clock, a digital physical clock that is showing you, the app time. I could have it set to the real world time, but I figured I would, do something cool and just leave that in there. I think I've actually covered all of the features now for that half. So again, that's the advanced settings menu. Otherwise, we have the left-hand mode, reset button, and the flash button. The middle button changes depending on which app you're in. So in Puppyware Co., it uses our web browser app, but in the Magic Fish or 1001 Butterflies app, it creates the Safari mode app where you can spawn as many new creatures as you'd like. And the last thing that I want to make sure we pointed out was the book bag again. And so in the book bag, we have that 3D camera, we have our 3D decorations, and I did not cover this at all. Wow. So we have the 3D brush. This, you can basically hold the screen. You don't have to tap and hold the brush at the bottom, but you just hold the screen and you can paint. And you're painting in 6 degrees of freedom. So you'll notice that this is a full 3D drawing. And I can change the style too. So let me change the color here with these other arrows. And I can change it to a neon brush. If I pinch out like the 3D decorations, you get a wider brush stroke. If I pinch in, you get a smaller brush stroke. You can also swipe left or right. You don't have to use the arrows at the bottom. You can swipe left or right to change. And then you can also use this cool metallic brush. And this one I think just looks really cool. This is like the new feature of AugmaOS, is that some of these features didn't exist before, but now we have this style of brush, which just looks really, really cool and shiny. So again, that's the 3D brush, and we can also change the shape. So if you want it to do a square or a cube, you could do that as well. Whatever you wanted to draw with this, it's really cool. I could draw something cool for you guys, but I think it's more cool to just kind of show you. It's kind of hard to multitask and do this live stream while I'm doing this live demo. But basically, in our 3D brush here, if you tap that delete button, it will delete things in the order that you drew them. So you can definitely also easily clean up. Let's go back, and the last micro app I'll show you here is the 3D stickers. And so again, you can pinch these in or out to make them bigger or smaller. The 3D stickers in each one of my apps are going to be themed to that app. So for Magic Fish, it's a bunch of fish stickers. And in the Butterflies app, it's a bunch of butterfly stickers. One cool new feature that was not available in AugmaOS 3.3, but it is in 4, is that our menu here, which has been redesigned to be 3 dots, you can switch. So right now we're in 2D mode, and that means I can just kind of put this anywhere, and I can tap the screen, or I could tap this sticker icon at the bottom. But in 3D mode, I can actually place this sticker on 3D objects. And so I could scale this down and put it on our pin stroke that we drew earlier. You know, I didn't get it the best placement, but you can see that that is actually attached, and it's not always facing the camera like these other stickers. They're always facing the camera. They always match the phone's orientation. Well, this sticker will no longer do that. It's stuck in real world to one of our digital objects. So another cool feature. Again, I try to provide as much value as possible with my applications. So I hope you guys enjoy all of these cool features. There's Randy. One cool thing about Randy is that when you pick up these fish and you read their description, you can also clone them if you tap this icon here. So this is a cool new feature that didn't exist in AugmaOS 3.3 because it's actually very technical to be able to clone these guys and give them their own independent thoughts and maintain that and not confuse the system. When I pick up a fish named Randy, even though there are 50 other fish named Randy, it actually took some very creative code, and I finally cracked the code. So yeah, it's a cool new feature. You can clone things, clone any live animal inside AugmaOS, and just kind of continue that there. I didn't really have an order or a script to show you guys these features, so I hope I showed you everything in a cool order. The last thing I'll show you is the web browser. So if you tap that star icon in the book bag, it opens your web browser, and this just links to my website. This is my website. It's built into all of my apps, and so that way you can easily download any of my apps from my website. So I hope you do that. Please do definitely check out my website and check out my apps. But one cool thing I wanted to mention on my website is if you go to Augmented Reality Today, of course you can join the meetup. So again, we are an official meetup. We have an official meetup. I paid $20 a month for it. Please join. But from here, you can see this always changes for the events that we have. And so for free assets, you just want to go to this page and tap free assets. I don't know what this is going to do on my iPhone. Oh, cool. It opened here. That's actually really cool. But yeah, this is our free assets. So you'll see in music, you have a bunch of free songs that I produced. They are completely royalty free. Do whatever you want with them. I can't say that they're the best songs in the world, but hey, they're free and they sounded good to me in the moment. So check those out because they're free and you can download those. In 3D, we have some things. I don't think I finished putting things in here, so check that out, but I will be putting some more assets in there. And in 2D, I put a few things as well. Like I have this cool sketch of AugmaOS as I planned it for the HoloLens 2. I had some really great experiences with the HoloLens 2, and so I wanted to port that to the HoloLens 2, and it's getting there. And then we have some cool wallpapers. There is one more sketch that I wanted to show you guys, and it's the original sketch for AugmaOS, but I might just have to put that in there in the folder a little bit later. So it's 12:53. That's basically an hour. I think from here, I'm going to stop presenting. And again, thank you guys for joining. Thank you for watching this long. I will open it up for any more open Q&A right now. Let's do it. Thank you. But yeah, if you have any questions, any comments, please come off of mute and I can go ahead and answer those. I would love to answer anything about what I've done here.
Yeah, I have a quick follow-up question from one of the other attendees that asked. It's clearly you're super excited about all the stuff you're working on.
Right.
I think it's not 100% clear to me though. It's like, are you looking to kind of sell the things you're working on, or you're looking for people to invest in that, or like what's your goal with all these things?
So it's both. Basically, I'm selling these things. I'm selling these final applications, but underlying the goal for me is that I have this tool that allows me to continue to create any application I want, which may be a full fleshed out startup idea, and I could sell that app and have an exit. That is my end goal. Is that basically I'm creating apps. I own 100% of the rights to these apps and I get all the profit from them. But if I wanted to sell this to a venture capitalist or an investor, if I wanted to sell that specific app or startup, I could. Or if someone wants to work with me, I could. Maybe one day AugmaOS will be its own SDK that you can just kind of sign up for and buy a developer account and use without really interacting with me. But at the moment, it's just not there yet. It's just too special. It's just too customizable. Basically, if I shared it now, that you would get tons of cool code that took me a long time to create, and you would have it's all written on one page. The way I'm a self-taught programmer, and so the way that I program is I program everything on one page. I don't put it in all of these different files. I graphic design. I put those assets in one folder, and I write code, and I put that on one folder. And so that's basically it. Is that it's just my ultimate creation with all the code I've ever created, and I'm selling the cool ideas that I create with that code. But I definitely want to give other people access to that code. But right now it's kind of limited access, So I hope that answers the question, because I know it is a lot, and I do have a lot of applications. But yeah, it's that. I'm just addicted to creating apps, and I never want to stop, basically. So I hope that answers that question. But if you guys have any more questions, go ahead. Especially about the power or what's capable. Please, I can tell you what is and is not possible with what I've done already. Or about the industry. Anything about AR. I have so much experience. Full disclosure, I do also work at Microsoft. I'm not doing AR stuff, but I have have some great connections there. So I'm very well connected within the AR industry, and I've seen a lot of things before they've come out. And yeah, if there are no more questions, then again, I will show off my website really quickly and just remind you guys. But thank you for joining. We'll probably have another meetup next week. It will probably be much more attended because this week I didn't really want to advertise. I just wanted to share. This week. But please, questions, come off of mute. I don't mind. I'm just going to share my desktop and show off my website from here and wrap up these last 3 minutes. And so you guys should be able to see my desktop. But yeah, this is my website again. Definitely check it out. I'm working on this Our Services page here, but this is the final vision for AugmaOS, is that AugmaOS is going to work on glasses and it's going to work on iPhone as it does already. And this is again what I'm selling. So this is kind of my business pitch, is that I can create an AR app for you. Whatever app that is, we can figure it out. You come up with the idea. I can teach you I can show you how I could build it with AugmaOS. And basically I can also make Instagram effects like this AR filter here. So those are my 2 skills that I'm willing to sell, is that I can build custom AR, VR apps, or we could build a Instagram effect for your business or movement. So definitely check me out. You can book a free consultation on my calendar here. This does sync up with my iPhone calendar, so I will see that if you book a consultation. But otherwise, keep up with the meetup. Join the meetup, which is, sorry, I think you guys can see my screen, so I shouldn't click over. My meetup is going to be at the top here, and you can join the meetup. Hope that helps. Again, thank you guys for joining. Go ahead if you have any more questions, but otherwise, we'll just let it roll off at 1 on the dot. Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Casey.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you guys for joining. Obviously, it's not a big crowd today, but I thank you. All right. Well, yeah, I guess we'll end it from here. If there's no more questions, take care.